This conference will now be
Awesome. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Aubin. I am a success coach here at Inside Real Estate. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today about kvCORE and kind of welcome you guys into the fold, into everything that kvCORE has to offer. One of the first few things I want to just talk to you guys about is, how to log in, how to get some extra help. Today is really more of a foundational training, kind of covering all of our bases to make sure that you guys can keep going, keep moving forward. As you're using the system continually on a hopefully daily basis, as even furthering your knowledge to taking what you guys do, right now with your real estate business, and maybe integrating, some other things that you have been finding through using this kvCORE system. So first things first, how to log in, right? So first thing is go to kvcore.com. That's where you guys are going to log in. Your admins should have sent you a welcome email with your email address, as well as a link to create and reset your password. And then once you guys have done that, you've logged into kvCORE, your page will look something like mine does right now. This is called my dashboard. This is kind of like the home screen or the main page that you guys will see every single time you guys log into the kvCORE system. Now, a few things to note here, additional support sections, additional trainings, just so you guys are always aware and in the know of what's going on with kvCORE. So first piece of training, and probably the first place I would send you guys as soon as you log into the system, you're going to look up here in the right-hand corner of this kvCORE training tile. Now you'll notice we have our view learning portal over here, as well as our learning portal in the far bottom left-hand corner. They'll get you to the same spot. But when I click on that, it's going to take me to a different portal. And so you're probably going to get a different email saying, hey, thanks for registering. So don't panic. That's totally normal. But it's going to drop you to your kvCORE platform courses. Now, the first one I would do is this core quick start. That's going to be really A to Z, what you guys need to do at the beginning, get you, again, a good foundation of what you need to know going forward with the kvCORE system. I find it a little confusing. Make sure you guys scroll up here to the top to get started on this green button. I always try to do it from here and can never get there. So, but you guys can see, importing your leads, setting up your website, managing your leads, a whole bunch of good stuff to help you guys best use the kvCORE platform. Now, after that, if you guys are learning for, maybe a more broad view of different things in the kvCORE system, over here on the left-hand navigation bar is our support portal. And this will take you to a bunch of different support articles. We even have like an entire section for webinars and training up here at the top. But we've got a Facebook group that you guys can join and ask questions and share your tips and tricks and things like that. You guys can use the search bar up at the top for specific keywords, typing out maybe you're learning about campaigns or anything else, just type out those words and it'll appear right here for you. Now, if you do need additional help, my support team is down here in the bottom right-hand corner. There's this little blue smiley face chat option for you guys to click through, start a conversation with my team. I will say a big heads up, my team will also be sending you guys a lot of announcements. And these announcements are things like, we've got new success webinars going on. We've got new features or product updates, anything that might be helpful for you guys to know. We will kind of send a message out to you guys. But if you do have any questions, please start a new conversation. That way we can keep everything separate. And then the last thing I want to show you is this status bar down below, just letting you know when is there any updates going on with kvCORE. Is there any outages or things going on that you need to be aware of, just so, again, you're fully aware of what's completely taking place in the kvCORE platform. All right, you guys, so what we're looking at right now is, again, our dashboard. We briefly talked about this kvCORE training section, which is kind of step one of what to do after you log in. But then you guys are going to see some other stuff, like the second half of the screen here, which is your activity tab. Now, this is activity for all of your leads within your entire system. So this is if your leads are on your website and they're checking out some properties, they're favoriting properties, you've got a new lead come through, people are texting you, they've done valuations. But then the really cool thing is you can just email, our person right here and say, hey, I saw you were looking at this property. Is that something you're still interested in? Or what drew you to this property? Are you working with a real estate agent already? Whatever vetting type of questions you guys want to use, you can easily do that based off of that specific activity that you know that they have done already on your website. Now, I'm going to skip a few things for now. I promise we'll come back to it later on in our training today. But then I'm going to move over to this calendar section. Now, this can populate up here at the very top with this envelope looking icon. If you guys sync your Google account, you can have your Gmail calendar appear in kvCORE as well. So you don't have to have multiple tabs open. It's just right here. You can see when you have availability or when you've got a showing or an open house, things like that to plan out your day a little bit better. Now, we also have Outlook as well, and that means you guys can also sync your unread emails into kvCORE, and that's both for Outlook as well as Gmail. So you have a few different options with Gmail, but Outlook is still, working for those unread emails. Now, this My Business tab just next to that calendar section is where you guys can get a high-level glance of what's going on with your contacts. Now, you'll notice and you'll see throughout the entire kvCORE platform just how important it is to make note of the different statuses within the system. Now, these statuses help define where your lead is at within that buying or selling process and kind of working with you. Now, I will say kvCORE has very specific definitions of these different statuses, which may be different from a previous CRM. Maybe they're the same, but really what I want you guys to do is go back to our support portal and just search for the word status. Because in our support article of contact statuses, we're going to define each of those statuses for you guys to help you know where your lead should fit, and then continuing to move them along this process. So again, the support article is called Contact Statuses. We've got things like spheres and prospects and new leads and clients and closed and all that good stuff. And then we've given you a definition next to them on how we define these so you guys can match your leads with where they fall within kvCORE. Now, as we start talking about these statuses, keep those in the back of your mind because you'll see just how important they become throughout the entire kvCORE platform. So that's really a really big thing to note, something you may even want to bookmark this support article as you guys are getting going, just to make sure you remember where your leads fall. So a lot of the automatic communication, different things that take place with your contacts are accurate because they're going to be based off this status. Now we also have down below this company video section, company cloud section, and a blog section. Now, this is all done by your company admin, so they can add any pieces of information that they think you guys would benefit most from. So maybe it's a training video, maybe it's some links to some other places that you guys need to use as a brokerage, or a blog if you guys have an internal blog feed available. Now up here at the top, you guys are going to see these company announcements. Now again, this is coming from your company, but you will not receive an email about these. So making sure you log into kvCORE every couple days, you didn't miss out on an announcement, things like that. It'll always be up here at the top and you can scroll through and kind of see all the different announcements that your company may have for you. All right, so after you guys go through your learning portal, you've done a few things there. I really want you guys to do, click on your email address in the upper right-hand corner, and then click down on your profile. So this is kind of truly homework assignment number one, if you want to think of it that way. But making sure you guys go to your profile within the system and jump in here, press on this blue edit option, and edit all of your information. So your name, your title, add your agent MLS ID if it's not already there, add some social media pages, any spoken languages, Anything that you guys may need and could help you with your real estate business, I'd encourage you guys to jump in here, make sure this is accurate, provide more information or update them as needed. You can also provide a little bio section that will appear on your website, as well as a signature that will get sent out with a lot of the automatic communication that goes out with kvCORE. Now I'm going to press cancel over here, and I'm going to move over to my right-hand side where I'm going to click on this settings option. Now my page may look a little bit different from yours, but I really want to start with this daily call creation section. Now again, just as another place where these statuses become important, because kvCORE is going to start scheduling phone calls for you guys to complete each day. And now you're probably looking ahead here, but each day right here, this toggle is turned blue, which means it's turned on. So that means each day, Monday through Friday, kvCORE is going to schedule phone calls to complete for these leads that match these statuses right here. And we do have a method to our madness. And so if you guys want to go up here to how to daily phone calls, we have the different reasons why these phone calls are being created, so you guys can understand that a little bit more. But we've got, contacts must fit in the following criteria, what conditions must be true for a call to be created, and what scenarios trigger a phone call, and we have those in order. So you guys can see, why are we scheduling you to make these phone calls for your leads? And that way you can understand it. It's really going to help you guys automate your leads in your business, so you don't have to think about, okay, well, who should I call today? Well, I called them already, but maybe something's changed. Nope, we're going to match it with all of these different triggers and these criteria features to make sure that we catch the right people at the right time and kind of follow up on those people who maybe have not been in touch with in a while. So come into your profile, set the statuses that you want to receive those phone calls. I would personally leave this auto create calls each day turned on. And if you guys want to jump in here and say, you know what, I actually do make some phone calls on the weekends, you can turn that toggle on as well. And then you also have the option of what's the maximum number of calls that I want kvCORE to schedule for me each day. So we default to 10. Maybe that's too many and you want to drop it down to 5, or maybe that's not enough and you want 12, or whatever that magic number is for you guys. You can jump in here and fill out that free form text box. Now you're going to be receiving a little notification within your kvCORE platform of these calls. But we also want to email you guys just so you're fully aware. So you guys can select the time that you want to receive that email to remind you of the calls and the tasks that you guys have to be completed for that day. So it defaults to 10 a.m. Maybe that's a good time. Maybe you guys prefer a little bit earlier or quite a bit later if needed. But again, you guys can jump in here and completely set this up for yourself. You also have some holidays. Now, these are currently turned off, meaning on these holidays, kvCORE is not going to schedule a call for you to complete. Now, if you change your mind and you're like, you know what, actually on holidays, I do find I catch a lot of people home more often. Well, turn on some of these and you will get that call scheduled and sent out for you guys. All right, so let's briefly talk, and I'm going to go over to my marketing autopilot section, but I want to briefly talk about the kvCORE app. Now it's right here in your marketing autopilot on the left-hand side. We've got our kvCORE mobile dialer. Now I will be fully transparent. This is not a full functioning kvCORE platform. This is really a dialer, just like it says. So those today's calls you can make using your cell phone while you're driving across town, going to your next appointment. You can, skip it, you can pause it, you can, start it, stop it, whatever you guys need to do within this mobile dialer app. Some things you can also do with this app are, text people, email listings, put people on search alerts. So there is quite a good chunk of functionality in the mobile dialer app. But again, keep in mind its sole function right now is to be a mobile dialer. But it's really just going to cut down on the time that you have to spend on the phone. And that way you guys can just, multitask while you're driving, set your mobile dialer to go and start giving some calls to your leads. So you guys can use the mobile dialer to make any phone calls. But we also have in our dashboard section a place that's going to remind you about those texts and those calls and even tasks that can get assigned out to you guys. So I'm going to click on my green calls option here. And you can see even though I have 0 calls due today, I have 1 past due call that I didn't make. Now what I can do is I can, okay, well, here's my contact, here's what they're interested in, why am I supposed to be calling them? And it kind of matches that how-to daily phone calls. Or it could also match a drip campaign that you have turned on with the system, and we'll get to that a little bit later today. But then what you're probably looking at is, hey, well, maybe I've never talked to this person before. This really doesn't help me over here. So what you guys can do is click on the contact's name, and it will bring up that contact's profile to say, oh, okay, well, they've searched for properties, mostly condos in this city for these beds and baths for this price range. They signed up 5 months ago, but they were active 2 months ago. So that's a good sign that they're, coming back. You guys can scroll through some of the stuff that's taking place, and I promise we'll cover this a little bit later. But then I want to point out, as we're making these calls, we have this talking points section over here on the left-hand side. That way, if you're really not sure what to say, we have a little blurb that you guys can use and kind of take that and make it your own if you want to. But then once you guys have kind of armed yourself with information about this person before calling, then you guys can either go over here on this right-hand side to tasks and make that phone call, or we can close it again and make our call right from here. Now, when I press call, I've got all of my contacts information, and then I've got this big old disclaimer that's letting me know that my phone is going to be called before we connect to my lead. Now, what this really means is you guys have a kvCORE specific phone number for your office. And the way that works is kvCORE is going to call your cell phone. Remember, that's why our profile is so important with accurate information. And then from our cell phone, we're going to call out to our lead. Now, the number that's going to appear on your caller ID is that kvCORE number, but I'm going to tell you why this is important. The first thing is that kvCORE is automatically going to document the date, the time, how long you spoke to your contact for automatically. You don't have to do a thing. kvCORE is going to know it because you're using that kvCORE number to call out. Now, the second thing is once you have that lead assigned to you, if that lead calls or texts that smart number, the system knows that that lead is yours, and it's going to route any call or any text directly to you. So it's pretty cool. It really knows you, and it knows the system, it knows the numbers. So it just kind of makes it your work line. And then maybe once you're ready, it's no longer a lead. You're just kind of throwing crumbs out there. It's an actual person you're working with. You can say, hey, we've been talking on my work line. Let's just move it over to my personal cell phone. That way, you sound a little bit more reputable. You've got a work line, you've got your cell phone to do business off of, even though you're using the same phone to do both of them. It works out pretty well. Now, for these calls that get assigned to you, though, you do need to log the call. So making sure you make a note of whatever happened. And then the most important thing is pressing either contacted, not home, or bad phone number. Now, big disclaimer though is if you guys click bad phone number, that will delete that phone number from that lead's profile. So you will not be able to see that number again. So truly make sure it is a disconnected line, a very bad phone number before you actually click bad number. Now, like I mentioned with these tasks, kvCORE will assign tasks mostly based on any drip campaigns that you guys turn on. And so just wanted to walk you through it. It looks pretty similar to those calls. You can click on the contact's name, bring up their profile, snooze these for 1 business day, or mark this particular task as complete. So before we kind of get into those automated features, I want to talk about your kvCORE website a little bit. So you've got a few different places to access your website. The first one being up here when you click on your email address, and then you've got your website as this second option below. Now, the reason to use that drop-down is because you don't have to, it won't ask you to register, it won't prompt you to do anything. So this is kind of a way you guys can click through all of the information. You can see whatever it is that you need to see without actually having to log in as a fake lead. So that's one benefit and one reason to use that drop-down option. And then the other place to access all of your website settings is over here on the left-hand side under Web and IDX. So when I click on Web and IDX, you're going to see a lot of different features, a lot of different settings that you guys can jump in here and start working on. Another place to access your website, you can copy it, you can send it out to people. But a cool thing about your website is that we provide buyer and kind of like a buyer and seller portal. So whenever a lead is on your website, and let me get through some listings here. And let's just pretend I'm a lead. I know I clicked not register, so kind of bear in mind. But let me just say, okay, well, that's this Terrytown property, and I'm a lead, and I'm going to click on it. Your lead is going to have the ability to look at 3 pictures. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and they're trying to look at the 4th. They're going to get a pop-up that looks like this. And it's going to look like this. And so they're going to be prompted to use their email address. And let me just type out Robin Press Fake at. And then you're also going to notice that their cell number will be their password. Now this password, they're really creating like a whole buyer and seller portal in your front end of your website. It's kind of the back end. But when they put in a number, let me just put in a number here. There we go. And now you guys can see up at the top, instead of just saying login, I now have my name. I have a list of potential saved properties where I can, ask you as the real estate agent a question. I can save any properties that I've been looking at, and they'll appear on my buyer portal on your website. Now, another cool thing that you guys can do is when your leads are going to sell, they enter in their home's information. They're going to have that valuation saved into their buyer portal on your website. So you guys have all of that information. So it's kind of cool, and I'd really encourage you guys to test the system a little bit. But I will say that there is best practices to do so, and the first one being do not use your own email as well as your own phone number, because like I mentioned, the kvCORE system knows what you've put in your profile, and so it's not going to work, and it's going to be a little clunky because the system knows that you're an agent rather than just a lead coming through the system. So if you're going to test out the system, which I'd encourage you to do, ask a spouse, a sibling, a family member, a friend, another coworker if you can use their information to test the system a little bit more rather than your own, because again, it knows what's in your profile. So with your websites, there's a lot that you guys can configure, and that's kind of the coolest thing about kvCORE right now is that you really can brand your website to be just yours. And so while you're still part of Abby Realty, you can have your own personally branded website to kind of match as an agent. And so what I mean by that, we're going to start right here under website content, and we're going to click by our testimonials. And so with your testimonials, you can have your own testimonials appear on your own website. You can even connect your Zillow reviews to kvCORE and have those appear on your testimonials page as well. You can have your service areas and SEO appear, and SEO is search engine optimization. So again, helping your website kind of get boosted up on those results list for Google or Bing or Yahoo or wherever people are searching. And then the cool thing about this SEO, though, is that these things that you're going to put, so zip codes and cities and neighborhoods and areas and whatever is popular in your market that may get searched, not only is it going to help with SEO, but let me get back to my home page here. It's going to appear at the bottom of your website, and I'm scrolling pretty fast, so pardon me, but we've got this areas we cover section that matches your service areas and SEO. Now what we can do is if someone's like, you know what, I'm really interested in Bronx, let me click on that. Well, now they can say, okay, well, I've got some, some stats. What's the average price? Average price per square foot. What's the walk score? Average days on the website. The most popular listing. Most expensive, least expensive. What's the market help like? Here's a little map. Here's some areas and neighborhoods. And this is all for your leads and your buyers to look at. Now, what you guys can also do is you can, take this, copy it, and then mass email it or mass text it out to some people looking in the Bronx. Or, I mean, whatever area it is that you guys are, working. Mine's just kind of here, but you guys hopefully are kind of getting the idea that you have an entire portal for your buyers and sellers to use at any time. Unfortunately, we do not have reviews from HAR. Right now, we're just working with Zillow. But you can always manually add your testimonials. So just add testimonial and copy and paste that text to get that to load. Cool. All right, so going over here to custom pages, if you guys want to add any custom pages to your website, so like maybe you want to take people to an events page for your market or for your area, or maybe it's a lender highlight, or maybe a particular piece of loan or a specific property that you focus in or specialize in. You guys can build really a custom page for anything you want to. That's why it's custom. You can truly build anything you want. Now you can see I've done a lender highlight, I've done an events calendar. So on my website, I've got my events calendar. I also have my lender and my lender highlight section for people to look at and easily have access to at the top of my website. The way you guys do that is by clicking on this green new page option, clicking on the title, naming it whatever you want to, building out your content. And for those of you coders out there or know someone who is a coder, you guys can put and build an HTML site as a custom page. So again, fill it with whatever you guys want to. Now, again, like I mentioned, you can also link out to an external page by just including that URL. You can put it under any categories you've built out. So maybe it's just another lender you're adding. You can put them under that same category or build a new category and have it be a separate page. Your slug will get automatically created from your website title. But what a slug is you're looking at my URL up here at the top. And you guys can see I've got kvCORE.com, but then I've got /webidx, and then site content testimonials. Now, each of those is a different slug, but you guys can name it whatever you want so it's easily, searched, or you guys can copy it and send it out to your leads. Now, these next three options are optional. So if you don't know what that means, don't worry. It won't affect anything too much. And then this add to child sites is really just for your admins if they wanted to make any custom pages and have those appear on your websites. They could do that, but as you don't have anything underneath you, it really is a non-relevant feature here. All right, so up here on this middle tab is a blog. Now, kvCORE does have a blog tied directly to it. So this is another great way to reach that SEO, because you're going to be typing out a bunch of words. You're likely going to trigger a couple of keywords for people to search. But your blogs appear on the homepage of your website. They also appear right here underneath your agent. If someone clicks down on that, they'll have their testimonials, they'll have your blog, your profile, all that good stuff. And then, like I mentioned, scrolling pretty quick here, but it's going to be on the home page of your website where it says latest blog posts. Now, embeds is a little bit of a tricky option, I would maybe say, but the first one is for QR codes. So if you guys want to include a QR code to your kvCORE website and maybe put that on the back of your business cards or on a flyer, a billboard, I mean, really wherever, you have that option for your website. You also have that option for a specific listing. So maybe you're building a flyer for an open house, whatever it is that you want to do, you can type out the MLS ID, pick your website, and then it will build a different QR code for that specific listing. These other options for property search, the website widget, and seller valuation, this is if you guys have a different website that is not tied to kvCORE, but you still want to refer people back to kvCORE. You guys can embed these widgets down below, and what that means is you're going to copy the code into your other website and redirect that traffic back to kvCORE. But you can do it for particular properties, you can do it for your entire website, and then you can even do it for a seller valuation. Now, Website Manager, it's kind of that main page that we clicked on for your Web and IDX, but this blue Edit Settings button is going to be probably the more common things that you guys are going to probably edit for your website. So things like your background image. We do have stock photos for you guys to use if you want to, or you guys always have the option to import your own image right here, and then just select it from above and then save that option. Now, there are tons of settings that you guys can configure. I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but I just want to highlight the most important and maybe the most asked about. The first one being this mandate phone option. So as you saw when I was registering as a lead on my website, they said the cell phone is optional. That is exactly how we want it, because if you guys mandate the phone number, meaning they cannot proceed unless they give you their phone number, we see as much as 30% of people just abandoning, they don't ever give you their information. And then we also see an increase in people providing fake phone numbers just to bypass that. So again, I don't recommend mandating the phone number, but again, that is totally up to you guys, and we give you that option here if that's something you'd like to do. We also have website titles. So it's typically right here in the gray section, mine's gray, but this section right here, it typically also appears up here at the top tab of your website. And then you guys can also add things like a custom header for your Facebook retargeting, a custom body for your Google Tag Manager, a footer for Google remarketing, and then we even have a Facebook username for chat. So while we're not integrated with Facebook, we do provide a chat option on your website that will link people back to your Facebook Messenger. So hopefully you've got that downloaded on your cell phone. So when a lead is on your website and they want to ask you a quick chat, it's just going to be sent to your phone as a Facebook Messenger chat, and you guys can communicate back and forth from there while you're not, completely at your computer chatting. Here is another place to connect your Zillow reviews. We do have some template options, and biggest one here is picking the color theme. We probably have over 30 options for you guys to pick through. You guys can also have a background video playing as opposed to a picture. And then another kind of unique options here is, the sizing of things, the coloring of things, the shape of different features. The custom navigation is what we were talking about for those custom pages, but you guys can name those different labels different things. So if you notice where it says search, I have opted into using find your dream home instead. Where it says agent, I have said your agent. You guys can add those custom pages to your website from here. So you're going to build those custom pages on that separate page. But if you want to add it, then you need to come in here and either select the custom page, which is that single click. Or if you guys select a category, that's going to be that drop down of multiple options under that same option. You guys can hide different pages. You can hide the we're hiring link. You guys can change which featured listings you want displayed under your listing carousels. So I have picked my just reduced, open houses, and I've opted in for the Bronx as a particular area. You can pull these areas from your service area and SEO section. So as long as your area is listed there, you'll see it as a drop down for the areas for your listing carousels. You guys can pick, you guys can pick which types of listings you guys service. I've unselected land, whatever it is that you guys want to do there. You guys can pick how you want your listings to be sorted. how you want them to be displayed. You can even add additional popular options to search, so things like school district and HOAs and half baths and whatever we can pull from your MLS will have available as a popular option to include. Now, we do have a couple of options for some more customization. It does require, again, HTML coding. So if you don't have that knowledge, there is an option for you, and I'll tell you in about 2 minutes. But for those of you who do or kind of want to give it your best foot forward here, over on the far right-hand side where this says Go to Site Editor, you guys can click on that option, and you can completely customize the section between your website title and your testimonials. So this is fully editable. And what I mean by that is you guys can make this as big or as small, or add pictures or texts or whatever it is that you guys want to do, you can change right from here. Now, again, like I mentioned, the majority of it is going to be some coding. And we have our little code view here. But just because you guys you may not have the knowledge, I don't. But we have an option for you guys over in the marketplace, over here on the left-hand side. You guys can pay one of our third-party designers to give you a semi-custom website. And that means really semi-custom. So whatever you want, right here, we've got these semi-custom kvCORE template designs. And you can work with our third-party designer to have those be created. Now, an example of one of those is, so you kind of saw what mine looks like. That one's kind of more on the kvCORE template side, so I haven't really done much to it. But this one, you'll notice as I scroll through, we've got this, really nice looking picture. We've got search homes in particular areas and neighborhoods, and the pages kind of tilt. What's my home worth? Meet the team, get pre-approved, our listings, just listed, all that good stuff is available right here for you guys. So again, like I mentioned, it is really customizable as long as you just go in and work with our team on getting that truly customized, agent branded website. All right, you guys, we kind of talked about your profile. We've talked about your website. I want to talk to you guys about some of the automation features. We've talked about those daily phone calls and those daily tasks, but I want to move into our marketing autopilot section. And I want to jump over here to our behavioral automation. So this is just so you guys are aware, kvCORE does send communication out to your leads automatically. Now, this is triggered off of certain behaviors. So we're taking a look at these 6 different behaviors right here down below. And if one of your lead, matches one of these behaviors, the system is going to automatically email and text your contact about that specific behavior. So let's say John Smith visited the site 5 times in the last week. And so kvCORE is going to send out this email. We're also going to send out this text message because that's what we're trying to draw some communication and open that line together. Now, again, with these statuses, don't laugh at me, but these statuses are so important because what I'd encourage you guys to do is jump in and pick the statuses that you want to receive these different behavioral messages. Now, what I would do is I'd come in here and I'd turn the toggle off, so I'd make it gray like mine is for Sphere. I don't think my Sphere really wants to be getting these emails and these text messages. But again, you guys can turn on or turn off any of the ones that you want, making sure that the right statuses are getting the right form of communication. Now, taking this one step further, if you as the real estate agent want to be notified if your lead does one of these behaviors, just make sure that the toggle is blue because blue is on, so you guys can get a text message as well as an email notifying you that, hey, John Smith really did view 5 properties in the last day, and it's going to provide a link back to their profile. So you guys maybe want to give that person a call because they're hot on the website right then and there. Maybe that's just you kind of taking a mental note, following up with them, later on, whatever it is that you guys want to do with that particular information. Now, the next cool thing that you guys can do is have kvCORE take actions based on your leads behavior. So kvCORE is going to now do stuff for you rather than just message your leads. So right now, if a new lead or a prospect responds to one of my messages, I'm going to automatically move them to an active lead status. So again, just taking the work away from you guys. kvCORE can do this automatically. So you might as well have us do it, right? You guys can focus on more important things like showing homes, making appointments, getting listings, things like that. Now, the second thing I want to show you in Marketing Autopilot are your drip campaigns. And we call them smart campaigns, but they're the same concept. So I don't want to cover these in depth. I don't really want to show you how to edit them. It's really high level today. I'm also getting a lot of feedback. So if you guys could jump in here and mute yourself, that would be really awesome. And let me see if I can find our friend who's unmuted side. Go, sorry, guys. Okay, hopefully that should fix it. There we go. So looking at your campaigns, kvCORE has 21 pre-built campaigns for you guys. You don't really have to do anything with them. All you may have to do is click on this drop down, read through a few of them, and then just add them to your library. You don't have to make any changes right out of the box. We've kind of have deemed these as our top converting campaigns, and converting in the sense of getting your leads to respond back to you. If you're not sure which campaigns that you want to use at first, I'd really encourage you guys to do this default new lead seller, as well as your default new lead buyer campaigns. While they're pretty robust, you're looking at 42 touches, 15 touches, they're really good at getting people, to respond back. And if not, it'll just kind of slowly kind of take a step back, but it's still going to be dripping on them. So that way you guys stay top of mind for a lot of these people that come through, because we all know that the market is really changing to be internet leads. And so we want to make sure that you guys are still, sending out stuff, not too frequently, but just frequently enough to kind of draw that sense of obligation and really open that line of communication with these people. Now, I know that there's a lot of touches here, well, a few that are under, 10 touches. I will say that there is I believe it's a NAR statistic out there, don't quote me on that, but there's a statistic out there that says on average, it takes 8 to 12 touches for a lead, for you responding, you're sending stuff out to a lead, for them to respond back to you for the very first time. So you guys are doing it yourself a disservice if you're cutting yourself short at these 7 and 6 touches, because we really need at least 12 to 15 touches to make sure that that lead has enough time to respond back if that's, if they choose to move forward, and then hopefully they do. But that's also why I've, kind of these default new lead buyer and default new lead seller campaigns are really great because they have plenty of touches to stay, in a good form of communication with your contacts. So you guys can click on the campaign name. You can read through some of the touches, add it to your library as soon as you're ready. And just because you guys add something to your library does not mean this campaign is going to start. You still have to come down here, and you'll notice that my status bar on the far right-hand side, I have to still click that and make it blue to turn that campaign on. But the good thing about these campaigns is they're automatic. So if your lead hits this trigger, this starts when, as well as this designed for, the system's going to automatically start this campaign for that lead. It's going to send out emails and text messages. It's going to remind you to do some stuff to be a little bit more personalized with your leads. So it's really just, again, automating as much as possible with the system. Now, again, if you want to, I'm just going to click on one of my custom built campaigns here, but I'm going to click on my campaign name. And you guys can see I've got my campaign actions. And each of your campaign actions are made up of templates, and you can see that up here at the top tab. But your templates are the actual message that's going to be sent out to your contact. So at any time, you guys can click through, pick the different templates. You guys can even use templates for mass emails and mass text messages. So feel free to come in here, add a template, change it, update your campaign if you guys want to. All right, so we've got a few minutes left here, and I want to end at kind of going over your contacts. The first thing being, let's import your contacts into kvCORE. We don't want them just sitting somewhere. We want them to have that behavioral automation turned on. We want drip campaigns. We want search alerts, all that good stuff to be assigned to your contacts. And so we can do so by bulk importing your leads. Now, as soon as you guys get your leads ready to import, and we have a import template for you guys, I'm just going to type out import up here. And it's how to import your contacts to kvCORE. This way you guys have our import template to help you organize your leads ready for import. Again, don't forget those statuses. Don't forget those lead types. And then you even have a list of supported import fields, making sure you guys know what you guys can bring in with those leads, and what maybe need to go into a note so you still have that piece of information. Now, once you get your leads ready to import, you guys can import those leads yourself, or my team can just handle it for you. If my team does it, it does take a couple of days, but it's really, a couple of days isn't too bad to make sure that all those leads are imported correctly. And then once your leads are imported, I want to take you to our Smart CRM here, because this is where all of your contacts are going to be once you import them. So you can see I've got my new leads, I've got my active leads, I've got my clients and prospects and all that good stuff with all of their information right here. Now you'll notice underneath my lead's name, I have these gray words, and these are called our hashtags. So because kvCORE has those default statuses as well as lead types, where you can get creative and kind of subgroup your contacts is by hashtags. And so I've done things like hot buyer and open house and pre-approved. They're looking for a golf course property, whatever it is, how I want to subgroup my contacts, I would use with a hashtag. So again, this could be pre-approved, hot buyer, follow-up, cash, investor, credit repair. Maybe it's a particular area or neighborhood that they're interested in. They want a pool, whatever it might be. So you guys can easily click on here in this filter section, and then you can filter out by that lead detail of that hashtag. That way, again, you guys can easily email them. You can text them all in mass because of that specific hashtag. You can also do that with any of these other options here, like the lead source, so where they came from, their behavior with you. Do they have, search alerts and market reports and all that good stuff? All right from within these filters. So again, all of your contacts will be here. You can see, who we have communicated with by the numbers next to the activity section. You can see their interests, where they came from. You'll even see kvCORE will start automatically rating your leads out of 1 to 5. And this is if they've done anything particular on your website or, messaging you, little things like that that may boost or lower their star rating. And then what I want to show you is a little more in depth our lead timeline. And so I'm going to click on my lead here, and this should look fairly familiar. But you've got all of your leads information. You can click on this tiny little drop down arrow and update their lead type. You guys can add this MLS ID if they're a seller, and kvCORE will email them once a week, letting them know how many property views their particular listing has. You can see when they were last active on the website, or how many total property views do they have, contact information, do they have search alerts turned on or not, what are their hashtags, and you can manage those. Do they have a campaign turned on or not? You can even click down on here, see which campaign it is. You can pause the campaign, you can restart the campaign, you can delete it if needed. You can add an additional campaign. You guys can see if your contact has a market report. Now, I will say if your lead comes through that valuation tool and they try to get a valuation on your website, kvCORE will automatically turn on a market report for your contact to send it out to them once a month. So that way they can, get as much information as they need, and it's going to be automatic. You don't have to do a thing. Or you can manually come in here, pick the location, and turn those people on for some market reports. You get a nice little summary about your lead. You get more details, so additional contact information, their last close date, their homeowner status, spouse information, social media profiles, all that good stuff. In the middle here is the timeline. So these are dates and timestamps of when particular things have taken place with your contacts. You can see all the emails that get sent out. You can see all the properties that get sent out. You can even see future touch points that's part of those campaigns. So in my campaign, what's the next step? And when's it going to happen? Over on the far right-hand side, you guys have your quick actions above, or you've got more actions where you guys can unsubscribe or resubscribe your lead. You guys can individually turn on or off behavioral alerts. So even though my lead Joe here is an active lead, and if you remember, I have those behavioral alerts signed up for my active leads, I can just turn my lead Joe off from receiving those, but everybody else in my active lead status is still going to get those messages. Now, last thing to note here is your search alerts. So up here at the top tab is our alerts. Now, if your lead comes in and registers off of a property and they look at some listings on your website, kvCORE will automatically turn on an average, a search alert of all the properties and the price ranges and things like that they looked at within about 24 to 48 hours after they've gone to your website. But if they don't look at a website, and this guy was a manual ad, he didn't look at anything, I had to come in here and I had to click on edit, and I had to manually turn on the search alert for him. But I do have 2 search alerts available. Maybe they're a buyer and a seller. You guys can add keywords and options and pick the area or draw it on a map. You can pick how many beds and baths and even how often do you want this search alert to be sent out. As well as even do like an email CC, so send it out to you. Maybe they're looking to buy soon, or maybe their spouse. And then a really cool thing here that your MLS can't do is you guys can text out these recent results to your contacts. So, you can even copy a link, send it on, Facebook Messenger, send it on your Instagram DMs, however it is that you're communicating with this person, you can always send out those recent results to them, and it'll be the entire list of results. All right, you guys, so just a high-level recap. I know we covered a lot, but that's why we have recorded this. You guys can rewatch it at any time. But a high-level recap, go into your learning portal, watch those quick start videos, go into your profile, making sure all of your information is correct. Go to your marketing autopilot section and configure your drip campaigns as well as those behavioral alerts. And then import your contacts using that bulk import tool, as well as making sure you guys are following up with your leads via your daily calls and your daily tasks that get assigned out to you. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for your patience as I was a little bit tardy today and hanging out there with me. Please feel free to listen to this recording at any time later on and use those other resources available to continue your education on the kvCORE platform. All right, you guys, have a great day and hopefully we'll talk soon. Take care.